We woke up pretty early the next day. I think it was around 7:30.
Accidentally.
Accidentally, yeah. We were supposed to wake up 2 hours later, but my phone was set to go off earlier, which I didn't know about.
Yeah, so we got there early. We just had a fun morning where we just did stuff until we had to leave. We left there. We wanted to make sure we got there early so that Brent could go register for his badge and I could be there for the opening ceremonies. Which some of these main events have bigger lines. I knew that, considering how big of a line actually was there at Youmacon the night before. So was why I left the panel a little bit earlier.
So when we got to Detroit, we were looking around quite a bit. We had passed the entrance to the parking after getting off the freeway without noticing it, and we were just driving around for a bit, going down side streets, one-way streets, and just trying to figure everything out. It took a bit, but that's when we finally realized we had passed it. And
the point is, we got to the RenCon.
Yeah, we
eventually got there,
and we took the tram. We figured that out. We stopped for lunch first at Five Guys Burger and Fries, and it was good. It was good. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but
not amazing. Probably for what you pay. You pay for the I mean, the atmosphere was decent,
right?
But otherwise, anyway, I stopped off the Renaissance Center.
Yeah, on the way on the tram, and I went all the way to Kobo.
Do you want to go talk about your Kobo experience first?
Sure. Well, I went to Kobo and I got off the tram, which is on pretty much the opposite side of the building compared to when on Thursday we entered. So I get into this line. It seems like a fair-sized line. It's down one side of the building against the windows, right at the entrance of the main building. And then it wraps around to the other side against the wall. Seems simple, right? Not at all. So we ended up finding out that that was only a portion of the line. It continued on throughout the rest of the building, wrapping around. Needless to say, it took me over 2 hours to get through that line and up to the counter to register. It was nuts. And my feet were hurting like crazy. But I got some good pictures from it, good cosplays, got to meet some people. So, it was okay.
When I got there, now to the RenCon Center, I went up and the line was already, there was already 4 Pokemon girls in line. They're all dressed up as Squirtle, Pikachu, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. Yeah, it was very nice. And there was also someone else that was they were cute too. And also there was also actually a panel. One of the guests that was there with his son. I didn't know he was a guest at the time. He was just they were having fun there. It was pretty cool to see that and notice later on that he was one of the people they invited there. That actually was a more, I guess,
a presenter?
A presenter, famous person, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
A guest.
Guest.
Yeah.
For their thing. But what I did, they were sitting on one side of the door toward the right side, and I sat on the other side, thinking, hey, it's going to be a while, just sit here, think don't want to crowd anyone. The thing is, I sat there for a long, long time waiting for this thing to start, which it didn't start till 1 o'clock p.m. Well, supposedly. It did get going, lines started forming, and I was like, I just don't know what to do really with the lines. You have to notice where lines are forming and end up going in it, because one side apparently is the platinum side, the other side is going to be the non-platinum side. Because for bigger events, they do always enforce the platinum system. Platinum goes first. Which, although they don't do it always for the smaller events, depending on how many people are there and other such variables. Anyway, when it finally did get time to go in, it wasn't until 1:30 because it was a half hour late.
Yeah.
Because they had technical difficulties in setting up. And from what I've heard by talking to people, that's not an uncommon occurrence for the bigger things. Bigger things do happen a lot later, most of the time, from what I hear. Anyway, I got in there. It was pretty fun. Started out pretty hype, raise the roof, all that good stuff. We had a guy come up there. He was a jokester. He was hit and miss with me personally. And then he started introducing each guest, and it was just some of the guests were more entertaining than him personally. It was just wonderful. Especially when we got to John St. John, who was great. Can we swear in your videos?
Don't use the word. Just say like, you know.
Okay, yeah. I'll do it my style then. Okay, John St. John goes up there. He's like, I'm so happy I got here this evening. I'm surprised I'm back this year, considering how many people I pissed off the year before. But I'm determined this year not to be the one to drop the F asterisk asterisk K bomb.
Yeah, he said the word.
Yeah, that's my interpretation. And he says O S asterisk asterisk T. I said the F asterisk asterisk T word. Oh, I said, yeah, F asterisk
You get
asterisk
the
T.
point.
And then he said reverse. And this wasn't a all ages event, so it was it got a shock and it got some laughs. It was pretty funny for me, entertaining. But I was like looking around to see if there's children around there, and it was like there was one I know that was entering because as I mentioned before, it was with one of the guests that he brought his kid with him. But anyway. We had some other guests, Caitlin Glass was up there.
Yes.
She was preppy as hell. I mean, she was just happy to be there. And from what I heard, she's the only person that's been there every year since Youmacon started, even when it was just down to 1,000 people.
And that's a feat.
It is, and just shows real dedication. And she's a marvelous person, and I really wish I could have met her today, but circumstances kept me from meeting her.
Yeah.
It was very unfortunate.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't stay too long. I left probably half hour before it ended, so I could go to my next thing.
Just explain your entire schedule. I'll do mine after.
Okay.
By the way, I took off my glasses because I was tired of adjusting them, as you probably noticed.
Yes. And so then I went and I did some food and stuff for myself, nothing big. And then I went over to the Kobo Center, where I went to the last part of the anime dating game. Actually, because the opening ceremony started later, that's why I got there halfway through already. And it was somewhat interesting, but it got somewhat repetitive at the same time. You had an Ash Ketchum, you had another guy I didn't recognize, and you had a female playing Edward Elric.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. They just asked them all embarrassing questions, kind of like it was a more 18-ish panel, kind of like. Yeah, it was pretty interesting and got good laughs. I laughed a few times, but anyway, I ended up leaving after only a few minutes because that just wasn't my style. And I got in line for the next one, which I was really excited to see. The Do You Wonder Why We're Here? A Rooster Teeth panel. When I saw this originally, I thought Rooster Teeth had actually come to the con for this thing, and they did not. And I quickly found out that was a big mistake that even Rooster Teeth recognized and posted on their actually had posted on their Twitter that they were not going to be there because of how much confusion this thing caused. But they still had a huge crowd for it. It was great, and we got to talk about just all aspects Red vs. Blue had, its development, its growth. It was fun, very interactive. The panelists were all excited about the subject. The people there were excited about the subject, yours included, and we had a good time. Next, 5 to 6 was actually I skipped that. I didn't want to go all the way back to the Ren Center because a walk is not fun. I did not plan this out well. I did not know the geographic locations of the Ren Center compared to the Kobo Center when I made the schedule. I thought they were right next to each other. I was wrong. It takes about 15 plus minutes to get there, depending on how fast of a walker you are and depending on where you get out of in the building and how crowded it is and how much traffic there is.
And things like that.
And weather. And many other things. But anyway.
And distracting cosplayers.
Quite a few, yes. And people yelling out from their cars, nerds. Happened once. But it was still it was still funny. Anyway, so I stuck around for a little while, just did this and that. I think I went to the dealer's room for the first time just to check it out, see what it was. And it was pretty fascinating just to see how many things were there. The wide variety of things, very loud, very crowded, and just, but it was a heck of a good time. Just to go look and see, things were overpriced, things were outright. You had to get this and that. It was just so many things, though.
So much going on.
So much going on. It was almost overwhelming in the dealer's room. It's just how much there is. It's like going to a big, very, very busy supermarket.
A flea market actually would be a good comparison.
Yes, with K-pop.
With K-pop, yeah.
And anyway,
which is always fun.
Oh yeah.
It gets you dancing.
Anyway, and then I went to the one I was really looking forward to, FMA Through the Eyes of Maze Hughes. And they had the actor playing Maze Hughes, who also played Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, and several other characters who I'm not remembering right now. Anyway, and he was a fun guy. He just came there and just basically had to start asking questions about it. I got to see what the guy who played Mace Hughes was really thinking when he had to play the death scenes for both Mace Hughes, which he really enjoyed, actually. He actually enjoyed...
Oh, that's a sadist.
No. He was enjoying the creativity of it.
Actually, that would be masochist.
Funny. He was enjoying the creativity that he got to do with the death scene, because his first time was a while ago, because of Brotherhood, and also he also realized one thing: Mace Hughes is a character that will never die, because after he is killed off, he was brought back to do OVAs, movies, the
fan arts, fan fiction.
The last movie of the well, he wasn't brought back for fan fictions, fan arts. Nope, that's wrong. He was just brought for the official thing. But he did the Warriors of the Shambhala, which he was pretty surprised, because it took about the Shambhala thing for the last movie of the last season of the movie that concludes the first series of the original series of the Full Metal Alchemist. They had Mace Hughes playing a Nazi, unmarried, with no kid, which is pretty much what Mace Hughes isn't. It's interesting. You never watched the whole thing through. It's interesting and fascinating, but they ended it with a movie, and I will never forget the series for doing that.
Insulting. Nazi Mace Hughes.
They made it took place in Germany. It was a little more sympathetic to it, the cause, but not Nazi sympathetic. But it's just it's interesting. You had to be there to watch. He was a policeman. Mace Hughes was, so it was just it was really interesting. Anyway, and then he also got called back for Brotherhood and many things after that. So he considers Mace Hughes a character that will never die, and he got to the point where he wanted him to die just so he didn't have to come back and play him. But he always loved the character, and he
spoiler alert: there will be a third Full Metal Alchemist series, and he will be back.
Really?
That was a joke.
Oh, okay. And but he also played Usopp, and he went on from One Piece, the English dub of it, and
the Funimation English dub, not the 4Kids crap thing.
Yes, and he really went on to talk about how he actually really loved Usopp as a character as well.
Which he doesn't.
I really don't yet. He's just a whiny bitch right now.
Yet. He gets better.
I took this guy's word for it, you know. Sonny, his name was where's it? The actor's name, just in case any of you guys are knowing, it was
Sonny Siaki.
It was Sonny Strait. Sonny Strait.
Sonny Siaki.
A really entertaining guy, by the way, just fun, told a lot of great jokes about when he was doing voice acting for Dragon Ball Z, just a great comedy there. Did a few voiceovers with Krillin saying "Kamehameha, bitches." It was great. Then after that, so enough of that. I need to get continuing on so that we don't run out of time here. I went to JoJo's Posing Adventure, which if anyone's ever seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it is a crazy show based on with a comic book style of art, but it is just over ambiguous in itself, but so crazy that it's funny at times, and it's something to watch, and if you keep with it, it will be entertaining as hell too.
I've never seen it, but it makes me think of clowns.
And so, in this one, they're really big and grandiose in their movements in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So there was basically a panel about posing like the characters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.